Hey YouTube, how's it going? As you guys know, recently I posted a video about the new Essence Scarabs, right? And a lot of you loved it, and I loved it too. I loved making it. So now I'm going to be working on the new Blight Scarabs, right? Specifically, there's two Scarabs, which are the Blight Scarab of Invigoration and the Blight Scarab of Blooming. So these have some interesting lines on them. The Blooming Scarab is the one that GGG added in the beginning of the league, which is it adds 3 additional bosses into your map. Bosses have extra life, and they convert all of your tier 14 plus blighted maps into blight ravaged maps instead. And the Invigoration Scarab says that each empowering tower in areas grants blighted monsters in ranged increased difficulty and reward. So increased difficulty just means they have damage reduction and increased damage, and the reward is just loot, right? So I ran this strat for 22 maps instead of 50 this time because my anime guardian actually got blown up in the 22nd map. Very sad. Rest in peace to Bob. He was a good Bob, right? Say RIP Bob in the comments, please. And I also used Horn Scarab of Glittering for more rarity and quantity. And I used the Horn Scarab of Nemesis, so rare monsters have more mods. More mods means more loot. And Blight spawns so many rare monsters that is absolutely crazy. Right, so, and a short note on the Glittering Scarab. Even if you are a minion build, your minions take your rarity and quantity. Right, if they're killing things, it still counts as you slaying them. So you still get your rarity and your quantity, and because Blight has so many monsters spawning in, you will always be up to maximum rarity and quantity using this Scarab. If you are a MF character, you will have even more, right? I was not running any MF gear with this strat. I was just using my minion build for this on 8 mod maps. So let's quickly see what a map with this setup looks like versus the other setup, which is your basic oil farming setup with 2 chests can be openable again scarabs that are 1C each. 1 oil is found in area or a tier higher, and 1 blooming scarab so that we can get blight ravaged maps. Right, this is purely focused on loot from the blight chests. Right, the reason I use the blooming scarab here is because unique bosses obviously have a bunch of loot in them. That is why I use this. It's replaceable. You can test it out with different things. It's up to you, but I use this for my test. You can use whatever you want, right? So now let's go. Let's see. Okay, so here I am running the oil farming setup. I am using this on scoured maps. The map atlas is the same as the one that I'm using for the Invigoration Scarabs because it can't really be much different. Like I have all the blight nodes, that's all I really need. And I'm only focused on loot from the blight. You go into the map, you find the blight, you activate the blight, and you do the blight. Right now, you can't really make blight monsters spawn any faster than they are. I have all the blight nodes on the map that make them spawn faster, so that's that. But it still takes me around 2 to 3 minutes per blight, right? So an average map would be a maximum of 3 minutes. That calculation is based off of how long it takes you to find the blight and then just activate the blight and stand there. Right, so 3 minutes per map in the oil farming strat, and you can see it's very chill. The monsters do close to nothing. They barely even make it past the portal, right? Because this is a scoured map again, so almost any build can do this. The loot explosion has basically nothing. It has some anointed jewelry, some random scarabs. Then we have the oils, right, and the blight ravaged maps popping out of the chests. And you can see I'm spamming my clicks here, right? I'm clicking this thing multiple times, and it keeps on spawning oil. That's the 40% chance for chests to be reopenable. Right, so that's how that works. So that's the most of the loot, and then you can maybe get a divination chest to get some stacked decks and stuff, but that's all. Okay, so this is an 8 mod map that is as juiced up as it can possibly be, right? So for this strat, I did use domination. That was just for this map, just to test it out, but you don't need to use it. Right, I have increased number of rare monsters. I'm cursed, whatever, increased damage, reduced damage from crits, all the blight scarabs, fizzes extra chaos, wither on hit, 250% increased quant, and I full clear the map trying to get as much Eldritch Altars as I can to get even more quant. right? You want as much quant as you can get on the map. We run Jungle Valleys here because Jungle Valley just has very easy access to altars. You don't have to boss rush or anything. I did find a immunity shrine here, so that's why I was testing it out. But immunity shrines are too rare. They make the blight way easier to do, obviously, but it's not necessary, right? So you can see here that I'm doing something different. I am placing a bunch of green empowering towers so that I get all that extra loot from the monsters, and I'm trying to overlap them as much as I can because they stack, right? So I even have a ring anoint which increases the AoE of the empowering towers. So you can see all of them are stacking up on top of each other, and the blight monsters, even the white ones, are getting pretty tanky, and the map is getting very laggy, right? So I'm running this in windowed mode. That's why the resolution is a bit off. I'm running this in windowed mode so that I could actually see what's going on, low resolution and everything, because I don't have the greatest of computers. Maybe yours will work better than mine, but you can see this one rare monster was absolutely juiced up. Came right through freezing towers, volatiles coming out and hitting me. It is very, very rippy, right? The only reason I was surviving before was because I had the invincibility shrine. So I do actually die here. Yeah, see, so I did die here once, but Blight is okay because I do have the ring anoint that freezes enemies that come into range of the freezing tower. So that's why you can see the enemies are frozen. That is why I added in the one freezing and the one stun tower, just so I don't get overwhelmed and lose, right? So that is what we want to do. And we run Jungle Valleys because we want that increased AoE for more towers to spawn, and so that we can stack up those green towers. That is why we don't want to do this on something like Waste Pool or anything, because those have fewer lanes, and fewer lanes means fewer towers means less green and less loot. You can see that rare monster has Soul Leader, but whatever, and then you get something like this, right? A massive loot explosion of just all sorts of scarabs and uniques and everything. And this is actually not even one of the good ones, right? This is one of the less decent explosions that I had. There were no real things. I found a glittering scarab, but that was basically it. Right, so now let's go in game and see how much we actually made running this. So here we are in game, right? So this is the Bloom and Invigorate strat, and you can see that we have a massive amount of stuff in this stash, right? So we have a bunch of tier 1 or tier 0 uniques, right? So I did find a Squire from one of the loot explosions. I found an Empower support, I found a Voldos puzzle box, I found a Voidborn reliquary key, I found a Wind Ripper, a Cloak of Flame, an Anathema, or Jungron's wedding ring. I found an Asenath's Gentle Touch. I found a bunch of stuff along with 13 fortunate cards as well. Found a replica Dragon Fang, and I found a bunch of anointed jewelry as well that I already used oil extractors on, and I ended up getting only 1 gold, 1 silver, and 1 opalescent, so that's irrelevant, right? But the primary loot that I got was from the unique items here and the special drops. Everything else is just some Blight Ravage from the Blooming Scarab, right? A bunch of maps here, a bunch of random, just random stuff, right? Everything else is a bunch of scarabs, maps, stack decks, whatever else, right? This one fractured 2-stone ring that I'm not really going to include. This one is synthesized ghastly jewel, not really going to include that either. And those are just extra stuff, we don't care about that. And then that's it, right? Now, one thing to note, this is all loot. There's also a bunch of lower tier oils and low tier currencies, but I will remove all of that when we get to the profit calculations, so don't worry about that at all, right? And then we have the oil farming strats, right? So this one is nice, it's peaceful, it's nice, you know, it's nothing too crazy. We only farmed oils and blighted maps with this strat. There's no crazy unique. I did find a tabula for some reason, right? But everything else is all pure money. There's nothing that's inflating this. I even upgraded all of the low tier oils to high tier oils here, so that you don't get any sort of inflation from any sort of low tier oils, like boosting up the amount of currency we make. Nothing. Okay, this is how much we got, exactly this and nothing more. So now let's go over to Wealthy Exile and see exactly how much we actually made. Alright, so here we are in Wealthy Exile, and as you can see, I have removed every single one of the low tier orbs. I have removed every single one of the low tier oils, And I'm actually going to remove all of the maps as well, because no one really likes selling maps. So I'm going to remove every single map that we found as well, so that no number is inflated, right? You'll obviously, if you want, you can sell the maps in bulk. You can sell different things in bulk if you want, right? That's completely up to you. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to remove every single thing. You don't have to sell anything at all, just pure profit and nothing else. Okay, this stays, this stays, this stays, this stays. Obviously, this does not stay. This does not stay. And yeah, that's basically it. We're going to remove Malkum and everything. So yeah, all of this is pure money. I'm going to leave the Crimson Temples in, because those are very, very, very easy to sell in bulk, right? Because everyone loves their apothecary farming, right? So we're going to leave that in. Everything else, nothing, right? So in total, in the end, right, so map total is 6.1 divines, and most of that is coming from Abomination. So keep that in mind. We do this, and the total amount of currency that we made, the Invigoration Scarab, is 33 divines after removing all the excess. So I even removed the all flames, right? 33 divines worth of currency. Great, amazing, right? How much did we invest in this? Let's see. So the investment was a bit high, because the Horn Scarab of Glittering that I mentioned, I bought this for 15C each when I recorded this video. They've gone up to 29C each now, which is a pretty big jump. But we're going to calculate this based on how much they cost right now, which is 29C. So I did 22 maps. 29C times 22 is 638C. That plus the Invigoration Scarab, which is 15C each in bulk. I'm sorry, the Blooming Scarab is 15C each in bulk. So 638 plus 15 times 22 plus 638 is 968. Now we add in the Invigoration Scarab, which is 10C each in bulk for 22 maps. That is 220C. So we do that as well. 1188C for the Scarabs, plus another 22C for the Nemesis Scarab. These are extremely cheap, so just add them in anyway. 1210C. Overall, if you don't use any map device craft, if you want, you can use Domination. You don't have to use Domination, right? I did most of my maps without Domination, so it's fine. If you want to, you can use it, but it will raise up your investment, so it will lower your overall profit in the end. But 1210C, let's divide that by 130. So we get 9.3 divines of investment to run this strat for 22 maps, okay? And we made 33 divines in profit. Let's see, 33 minus 9.3. So we have 23.7 divines of pure profit. That is things that will sell instantly. No wait times, no nothing, right? Just raw Chaos Orbs, raw expensive Scarabs, raw Reliquary Key and Fortunates, and a raw Squire and everything, right? So this is pure profit. Let's see, how long did it take me to run this? Well, each of these insane gigabytes takes around 4 to 5 minutes each for me to run. Okay, the minimum time, as I mentioned, for a blight is 3 minutes, 2.5 to 3 minutes each. The monsters are quite tanky, so it took me 4.5 minutes on average. If you are a very nice build, you're a chieftain with a bunch of explode on you, you don't even need any tower, you just need to stand there and watch everything blow up over and over and over again, right? So, but to be on the conservative side, 4.5 minutes per map, okay? So 4.5 times 22 is 99 minutes total. That divided by 60 is 1.65 hours. So 23.7 divided by 1.65 is 14.3 divines an hour running this strat. Now, a lot of you might be saying, but hey, you found some really big drop for all those puzzle box, Squire, Reliquary Key, right? These are inflating the numbers, right? Wrong. Because this strat is made to chase for these items, right? We're not chasing after golden oils. We're not chasing after like random stuff. We're chasing tinks. This is the tink chasing blight strat, okay? So if you don't get a puzzle box, maybe you'll get more reliquary keys. Maybe you'll get more empowered. Maybe you'll get an enlightened support, right? Maybe if you do this on Crimson Temple, you'll get apothecaries. Who knows, right? I did not do this on Crimson Temple because I did not want to boss rush, kill the boss, get the altars and everything, right? So I did not do this on Crimson Temple, but you can very easily do this on Crimson Temple if you want. It's completely up to you. I just found the layout of the towers to be more difficult to deal with for me personally on Crimson Temple, so I didn't do it, right? But Crimson Temple is open enough that you do get plenty of lanes almost always. Sometimes you get fewer lanes, and that's unlucky, right? But maybe you get apothecaries, maybe you get the 7 years bad luck, right? So you can get more things there. I went for Jungle Valley to get the consistent fortunate drops, but it's up to you, right? So it's not inflated at all. You will be finding some tier zeros. Maybe I got unlucky and only got 1 tier 0. Maybe you get 2 tier zeros, right? Now, a big disclaimer and like advice or something. I'll timestamp this so people can see this part. Very important. Squire this league is 2.1 divines. That is because of people abusing Rogue Exile All Flames and all that crazy stuff, right? So unique prices are way lower. But generally, a tier 0 unique like the Squire or a Headhunter or a Mace Blood are like hundreds of divines, right? So this strat can be done in other leagues. We're not using any All Flames. We're not using the league mechanic. We're not doing any of that, right? This is purely just the Scarabs and nothing else. So if you do the same strat next league, if they don't change the Scarabs at all, if you do this strat next league and you find a Squire, the profit goes from 33 divines to like 233 divines instantly, right? So there is a huge jump, right? And you can do this without any crazy character. You just need Explode. You either need a crazy character or you need Explode, right? Any sort of source of Explode will make this extremely easy to do. Okay, Chieftains will do this like on a breeze, basically. Okay, so that's basically it for this. So right now let's go over how much we made with the oils and everything. Let's see. So here's the pretty little oil stash that we have. Okay, we made 16 divines. That is with only the high tier oils, none of the lower ones. They're all scratched off, like this is off, this is off, they're all off. Okay, Scarabs made nothing either. It's all very cheap stuff here, nothing too crazy, not adding too much to the overall value. It is 16 divines, just oils and blighted maps and blight ravaged maps. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 calculations here. One will be with the blooming scarab enabled, so blight ravaged maps, and one will be without it, right? So let's do the blight ravaged and the blooming everything together. So the investment for that would be a total of 66 chaos for the oils are a tier higher, and the oil chest can be opened a second time, blight chest can be opened a second time, right? 40% chance of that. So 2 of those scarabs, they're 1C each, so 44 of those scarabs in total for 22 maps is 44C, and the oil tier scarab, 22 of those, 1C each. Sorry for the cut there. We use 2 scarabs of chance to be reopenable again, which are 1C each, so 2 of those per map for 22 maps is 44 of those scarabs, and they are each 1C each, so those are 44C, and the oils found are a tier higher is 1C, so that is a total of 22C for that as well for 22 maps, so it's 60C each total for that, plus the blooming scarab, which is 15C each for 22 maps, so that is going to be 15 times 22 30 plus 66, 396. That is the investment that we are putting in for this strat specifically, right? And that is it. 396C, no Atlas map device craft, no nothing. This comes out to like exactly like just about 3 divines, right? So that is how much we invest in. 16 divines minus 3 is 13 divines. Like I don't even need a calculator to do that, but anyway, 13 divines. How long did it take us to do this? Well, as I said, 2.5 to 3 minutes to do one of these maps. On average, let's say 3 minutes. Okay, so 3 minutes per map for 22 maps is 66, which is just over an hour, 1.1 hours. So 13 divided by 1.1, it's 11.8 divines an hour. Pure profit, right? You will have to sell your blight ravaged maps in bulk, right? Or your blighted maps in bulk. That is a bit difficult to do sometimes for some people, but that is money. Right, the oils, 10 golden oils, 8 silver oils, and 10 opalescent oil. These will sell instantly, basically, if you put them on trade. So, that out of the way, I want to remove all of the blighted maps now. Every single blighted map that we found, I will remove. right? Because the Blooming Scarab converts your blighted maps into blight ravaged maps, right? As long as they drop tier 14 and above. So I did get some tier 13 maps, but to be extremely conservative, we're going to remove every single blighted map that we have in the entire stash. Okay, that drops the profits down to 11 divines. However, we also do not use the expensive Blooming Scarab if we do this. Okay, so we're going to recalculate this. So only 66C investment for the scarabs and nothing else. You can add a 4th scarab if you want, but you don't have to, because we're only focusing on the blight and nothing else, right? And also remember, the maps are scoured. If you want, you can alch them and get even more currency from the loot explosion from the blight. You can do that if you want, but I wanted to make this super conservative, minimum entry cost and minimum everything, right? So 66C for the investment, right? That is it. That is all. Divided by 130 is 0.5 divines, nothing more, nothing less. Like very cheap investment. So 11 divines, which is what we made, minus 0.5 is 10.5. It will still take us the exact same amount of time to finish the blight, right? 3 minutes. This is 1.1 hours total for 22 maps. So 10.5 divided by 1.1 hours is 9.5 divines an hour. This is if you only and literally only sell the oils and nothing else, right? Okay, some raw chaos, that's just currency. Eldritch Annulment Orb, that's just currency. Stack decks, I mean, those are literally just basically chaos orbs. They sell for 1C each, right? If Forbidden Tomb, right? Everything else in here is all things that you will just be able to sell and use. This isn't even doing anything to the overall calculation. Neither are these scarabs. Like you have some scarabs in here, right? You can sell these in bulk, but they're not that many because again, these are scoured maps, so you won't be finding many of these. If you alch them, you'll find more of these, right? So that's that. That is the end of it. If you decide to run these strats, let me know how it goes in the comments. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments. All of these calculations and all the scarab setups and all the tips and suggestions will be in the spreadsheet link with everything else. If you run the Invigoration strat, please join the Discord and post your loot explosion screenshots in the loot section. I would love to see what you guys find out of these explosions. Maybe we can come up with a better setup. Maybe you don't use the Blooming Scarab. Maybe you use a different horn scarab. Maybe you use something. Maybe you just use a fragment for extra quant. I don't know. Let me know what you guys discover with this. I would be honored to find out. I read every single comment. I try to reply to every single one. So it's been amazing. As always, you are not as useless as you might think. You can always be used as a bad example.